changed. In fact, it's worse today than it was even on election day. So there's no one out there.
No doubt. I don't know what
It
happened.
is insane, and
But
it's
we're
got to
back.
stop.
So how important in terms of shaping public opinion was all the video played at the trial of the carnage and the destruction at the Capitol as compared to, say, the media coverage and commentary?
There is a lesson in this. And the lesson is the commentary doesn't matter if the video betrays that. And the video was so strong against Donald Trump, much stronger in the video that the Democratic House managers played than the Republicans in response. That 13 minutes of what happened in Washington, people looked at it. And I talked to congressmen and senators who will never say this publicly, but they looked at it and they said, oh my God, it was even worse than I thought. It was even more violent, more extreme. And the anger towards the president among people who are undecided moved them in the direction of wanting a conviction. And that's why a majority of Americans, maybe not a majority of viewers, but a majority of Americans wanted conviction. What gave them the proof was the video, seeing it happening virtually live in our homes.
It was chilling video, but of course it doesn't prove that Donald Trump incited the violence, although the violence was awful, especially to see it, the full panoply of it. But at the same time, does it seem to you that the media very much wanted conviction and doesn't particularly care that the president was acquitted for the second time?
The media was angry that the president was not convicted. And I watched in how they behaved with the language of Mitch McConnell, who both voted for acquittal and still suggested that Donald Trump is responsible legally, ethically, and in every other way. And that, I think, is going to be the challenge for the GOP. The single biggest impact I'm looking at is what does this mean for moving forward? What does this mean for the Republican Party in 2022 and 2024? Quite frankly, the party is so harshly divided right now that I think the prospects over the coming weeks and months are not good.
Well, since you brought that up, much of the media are also castigating the 43 Republican senators who voted to acquit former President Trump. So does that negative barrage tarnish the party, and will it remain a Trump party?
I'm not sure if it, oh God. You know, I've always tried to tell the truth on your show. I've tried to be candid, and I don't know whether the party moves on from Donald Trump. He still has a hold on a significant number of them, and a significant number have had enough of him. And frankly, the person who's in the most challenge right now is Kevin McCarthy, my friend, the House leader, because he cannot win a majority if the party is split. He has to find some way to get Trump voters to vote Republican, and those who used to vote Republican, suburban voters, women, upper middle class, he has to bring them back. And it's very difficult. But this is a media show. And I think that what viewers should be most upset over is that the glee in punishing Donald Trump, you can hear it in their commentary, you can hear it in their interviews with the witnesses, and it is wrong. That we should be honest brokers. We should ask tough but fair questions, and we should then give people the chance to give a full answer. And that's not what's happening on these shows. I did 2 interviews late last night. In neither show was the interviewer interested in presenting exactly what happened. They kept on beating up on Republicans, and they called it a technicality. They voted for Donald Trump. They voted for acquittal on a technicality. Howie, the Constitution is not a technicality. The Constitution is the law. And if members voted because of the Constitution, then that's exactly how they should have voted. We should give them kudos. We should applaud them for doing this. And the idea that the Constitution is a technicality is insane to me.
Well, the media showing their emotion on this, I think, does help to undermine any idea of being a fair arbiter. Frank Luntz, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, the Lincoln Project.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Happy Friday. It has been a turbulent week, at times pretty grim. But for once in this season of craziness, we have some good news for you tonight. And here it is. 212 years to the day after Abraham Lincoln was born, the Democratic Party propaganda outlet that stole his name has finally collapsed. Lincoln's birthday present? The end of the Lincoln Project. We can all celebrate that. There's probably never been an organization sleazier or more vicious in American politics than the Lincoln Project. Naturally, it was funded heavily by the tech oligarchs in Silicon Valley. The Lincoln Project set itself apart from most political organizations by never even addressing, for the most part, ideas or policies. Instead, they went personal, always, immediately, right for the throat. Rather than argue against what Donald Trump might be doing or not doing, the Lincoln Project instead threatened his attorneys and then spread filth about his aides. In January, for example, one Lincoln Project executive bragged that, quote, "We are constructing a database of Trump officials and staff that will detail their roles in the Trump administration and track where they are now. They will be held accountable." Ugh. It always sounded a little more like MS-13 than a political operation. Now, because everything is irony, there are reports tonight that the FBI is investigating the Lincoln Project, specifically one of its founders, a man called John Weaver. Weaver, you may remember, because he helped manage John McCain's run for president. He also worked for former Ohio Governor John Kasich. He is a close associate of Bill Kristol's. Of course he is. But in his spare time, John Weaver spent enormous energy trying to lure young boys into sex. At least one of those boys was 14 years old. 21 of John Weaver's alleged victims now accuse him of sexual harassment. It's an awful story. But here's the worst part of that story. The Lincoln Project clearly had a pretty good idea what John Weaver was up to. A lot of people did. For decades, political consultants whispered rumors that John Weaver had tried to molest little boys. Karl Rove, to his credit, once said that out loud. He was promptly attacked for saying it by The Atlantic magazine. The Atlantic protected John Weaver, too. But it turned out to be, apparently, accurate. Weaver's colleagues at the Lincoln Project knew this, but they hid the truth from the public and from law enforcement. Inside the organization, they made it clear they understood what was happening. We're not guessing at this. Here's an excerpt from a new piece in New York Magazine. Quote, "Beginning in September, much of the Lincoln Project staff convened in Park City, Utah, where they hunkered down in a COVID-safe pod until Election Day." Can't make this up. By this time, the quote continues, the allegations against Weaver were an open secret in the company, according to former employees. One former employee said that's when his boss warned him to avoid Weaver. Quote, "When I was told, it was almost in passing that I did not want to be involved with Weaver specifically because I am a young man," the former employee said. One night over drinks with much of the staff, 4 employees recall, Weaver's behavior came up repeatedly as a topic of discussion. One person remembers Steve Schmidt and co-founder Rick Wilson telling people Weaver was, quote, "depraved" and, quote, "twisted," and that they wouldn't want to know the truth about him, end quote. So in other words, inside the office, Lincoln Project executives essentially joked about John Weaver soliciting sex from teenagers. And as if the story couldn't get creepier or more repulsive, we also learned this week that John Weaver once operated a children's boutique, literally. So the question is, why are we learning all of this now? Well, because the election is over. Donald Trump lost. So reporters no longer have political motive to protect John Weaver. Until November, the media had every incentive to promote him as a man of principle, which they assiduously did. Here's John Weaver on 60 Minutes.
John Weaver feels it's the party that's betrayed him.
I mean, look, Leslie, we've gone from caring about character, rule of law, defending the Constitution, a cogent national security policy, free trade. Where are all those issues? Imagine if you travel the country for 30 years fighting for Republican principles and you learn it was all a lie.
Oh, so it's John Weaver who was betrayed. It's really about character. Really, it's about principle. The Lincoln Project cared about democracy. That's why they did what they did. It didn't have anything to do with the money they got. Nothing at all to do with money. They'd do it for free. They promised they would. This subject came up a lot, and every time it did, Lincoln Project of money, and that should have told you something. Here's Lincoln Project executive Rick Wilson.
And I'm going to quote, "They're failed strategists who are doing this for the money."
The easiest way in the world for a Republican strategist to make money right now is to shut up and say nice things about Donald Trump. So clearly we're in the wrong line of work.
Clearly we're in the wrong line of work. It's all pretty funny. Of course, that's the opposite of the truth. It always is. Rick Wilson found the only line of work that would have him, and apparently not a moment too soon. Published reports show that Wilson faced liens for hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid federal taxes. Oh, speaking of character. American Express took him to court for not paying his credit card bills to the tune of over $25,000. So for a guy like that, the Lincoln Project was a godsend, and we can't overstate that. According to the Associated Press, quote, of the $90 million raised by the Lincoln Project, more than half, $50 million, went to firms controlled by the Lincoln Project's executives. $50 million. According to the Federal Election Commission, the FEC, in the month of December alone, that was before the Georgia Senate runoff, the Lincoln Project shoveled $1.5 million to Steve Schmidt, who incidentally bought a big new house, according to news reports. The Lincoln Project spent $38,000 on a private jet company. They spent $1.7 million with project co-founder Mike Madrid's firm, and they gave $420,000 to co-founder Reed Galen's firm. Hope these guys saved the money, because it's hard to imagine we'll be hearing much from the Lincoln Project after today. Axios reported that Steve Schmidt has just resigned from the Lincoln Project. He wrote a resignation letter that's online tonight that you should read. In it, he portrays himself as the victim. It's all about him. And then says he's resigning because the board of the Lincoln Project has too many middle-aged white men. And in the name of diversity, he must go. By the way, the Lincoln Project also saw today the resignation of its spokesman and a couple of other people. Keep in mind, just a week ago, the Lincoln Project was powerful and feared. And now it's done. It's over. It's not coming back. The lesson is things change fast. Ask Andrew Cuomo how fast they change. A lot of people expected Andrew Cuomo to be Joe Biden's attorney general, maybe the vice president of the United States.
Nope.
And for good reason. Cuomo played an instrumental role in Biden's campaign for the White House. Cuomo helped the uniparty leverage coronavirus for political ends. He's one of the reasons that a lot of voters in November wound up believing that Donald Trump was personally responsible for COVID. Some voters appeared convinced that Trump had cooked up the virus himself in a lab deep beneath Mar-a-Lago. Joe Biden knew that these propaganda points were helping him, and he seemed grateful for Andrew Cuomo's help.
Your governor of New York's done one hell of a job. I think he's sort of the gold standard. I mean, look at the way you have governors like Cuomo who are out there just keeping everybody informed all day. I think he's doing an incredible job. I think he has been the lead horse here. I've talked to him frequently. He's a friend. I think he's doing a great job. I really mean it.
Andrew Cuomo is the lead horse here. He's doing a great job. Once again, we don't fault Joe Biden for saying untrue things. He's just reading a script. But in point of fact, Andrew Cuomo was not doing a, quote, great job as governor of New York. More people were dying in his state than in any other state in the country. But for most of a year, nobody in the media said that out loud. They allowed Cuomo to win an Emmy, in fact, for saying things like this.
My mother is not expendable, and your mother is not expendable, and our brothers and sisters are not expendable. And we're not going to accept a premise that human life is disposable.
Human life is not disposable, says the abortion guy. Well, thanks to the New York Post and a handful of other relentless journalists who pursued this story for more than a year, we now know that, in fact, Andrew Cuomo does believe human life is disposable. Of course, we knew that already. But here are the details. Andrew Cuomo's top aide, a woman called Melissa DeRosa, privately admitted the truth in a call with state lawmakers. It's on tape. According to DeRosa, the Cuomo administration deliberately covered up the true number of coronavirus-related nursing home deaths in the state of New York. They refused to tell lawmakers how many people were really dying. Why did they do this? Why did they lie? Well, DeRosa explained why. The Cuomo administration was worried that telling the truth about how many people were dying in nursing homes would hurt Joe Biden and help Donald Trump.
It's a reward for television.
Quote, he, referring to Donald Trump, starts tweeting that we killed everyone in nursing homes. He starts going after New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, starts going after California Governor Gavin Newsom, starts going after Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Then, she worried, Trump directs the Department of Justice to do an investigation into us. And basically, we froze. DeRosa continued, we were in a position where we weren't sure if what we were going to give to the Department of Justice or what we gave to you guys, what we started saying was going to be used against us. Well, we weren't sure if there was going to be an investigation. That played a very large role in this. In other words, we lied because we didn't want to get caught. The most basic explanation of all. We didn't want to help our political enemies. There are now 15,000 confirmed and presumed nursing home deaths in the state of New York. That's up from 12,700 as recently as late January. We don't have those figures because the Cuomo administration gave them to us. We have them because a few reporters like Andrew Kerr at the Daily Caller, noticed that New York's death numbers didn't count nursing home residents who died of the coronavirus at a hospital. We know it because places like the Empire Center, a think tank, obtained a court order forcing Cuomo to release the data to the public, which owns the data. He owns nothing. He's a public servant, but he wouldn't give it up until forced. If we'd listened to the rest of the media, we wouldn't know any of this. We'd only know about his Emmy. We wouldn't know anything about Andrew Cuomo's order that forced nursing homes to admit coronavirus-positive patients. We'd be expected to believe his excuse that all of this was somehow Donald Trump's fault.
Anyone who wants to ask why did the state do that with COVID patients in nursing home, it's because the state followed President Trump's CDC guidance. Who can we prosecute for those deaths?
Yeah, right, dude.
Nobody.
You.
Nobody.
You.
Mother Nature, God, and you had this political conspiracy theory that the deaths in nursing homes were preventable. I think it is all politically motivated. If anybody looked at the facts, they would know that it was wholly absurd on its face.
It's funny how the least competent, least honest politicians are also the most self-righteous. If anybody looked at the facts, they would know this is wholly absurd on its face. And of course, it is wholly absurd, but not in the way Cuomo meant it. Joe Biden is in the White House in part because journalists and members of both political parties refused to look at the facts. And it's time we assess the facts, honestly.
Ooh la la, the French, of all people, are coming out against the woke culture of American leftism. They are specifically denouncing
the French are coming.
The progressive left in America, and they are saying they want none of that in France. And this is coming from Emmanuel Macron, the progressive head of France. It's coming from a guy who would normally be expected.
Yeah, weird. What? Winning.
To be sympathetic to all this. But American-style leftism, he says, is, quote, splitting France in two. And this isn't just Macron.
He sees it prior to it coming.
His education minister has essentially denounced the influence of leftism in American universities, which he says is now being reverberating or being echoed in France. And he says American universities are providing, quote, a justification for terrorism.
Justification for terrorism?
This may seem like a huge surprise. And the French are kind of hard to predict. I admit, I've experienced it. Many years ago, I was given an award, a prize for helping to promote intellectual freedom in the aftermath of my book, A Liberal Education.
Sousa's awesome.
And because the prize was $10,000, I went to France to collect it. And I gave a speech talking about this crazy stuff going on in American universities. By the way, the same woke leftism that I saw a whole generation ago, but then it was confined to the campus. And what's funny is that the French would, as I was speaking, they would just kind of laugh, hee, 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 hee. And initially I thought they were agreeing with me. They agreed.
They weren't agreeing
with me that this leftism was dangerous. But what's funny is that they interpreted this as essentially a sign of American immaturity. Tee hee hee, these silly Americans, look at all the nonsense they talk about. I got the idea that in France they look at Americans, adult Americans, as grown-up children. And this is why they loved the stuff in a liberal education, because to them it wasn't a reflection of the craziness of the American campus, but the craziness of Americans themselves. So sometimes the French take things a whole other way. But
they stood today, so.
On a more serious note, and now, there have been a series of horrific Islamic murders in France. Let me talk about a couple of them. A secondary school teacher had his head cut off by a man, in a sense, shouting Allahu Akbar. 3 people were recently stabbed to death in a church.
Jesus.
perpetrators were Muslims who said they were doing it because of their religion. Now, you can just imagine France taking all this into account and then listening to the American left's, "We have to warn against the rising tide of global Islamophobia." No, the problem isn't Islamophobia. The problem is that you've got these gruesome people doing horrific things in the name of their religion. Here's Gilles.
Yeah. Agreed.
Kipel, a world-famous student of Islam, and Kipel says that American influence has led to, quote, "a prohibition in universities to think about the phenomenon of political Islam in the name of a leftist ideology that considers it the religion of the underprivileged." So by making
I can see it.
Islam into a victim, you can't talk about the way in which political Islam does monstrous things in the name of religion. But there's a broader
It makes sense. It makes sense.
point here that Macron is getting at, which I think is worth thinking about. And that is not just that you've got this kind of American intellectual Taliban making leftist excuses for Islamic terrorism, but more broadly, you've got this
Don't make excuses. Call it out.
this ideology of racial separatism that contradicts the fundamental idea of France. This is something that the French education minister has been all over, and so has Macron. He talks about a national identity based upon French values. The very old French idea going back to the Enlightenment and the idea of the French Revolution was the idea that if you become French, and what that means is you embrace French culture and you speak French, that is the only way to be French. There are not multiple ways to be French. There's only one, and that is you embrace French culture and you speak the French language. So the French, for example, don't even keep racial statistics. They don't count how many blacks and browns and whites there are. Why? Because all those people are Frenchmen and French women. It's a universalist ideal, and they're holding to it. And what they see is they see this balkanization in America. America is literally splitting up into these balkanized enclaves.
Tribes.
And they don't want it. So their message to America is keep these sick, demented ideas to yourself. We want none of it in France. And I think in this respect, we actually may have surprisingly something to learn from the French. Once in a very long while, as with croissants and escargot, the French do get something right.
They do. Every once in a while, get something right.
Well, Joe Biden's immigration policies have had at least one immediate effect. They've created a nationwide sanctuary for people driving drunk in this country illegally. Fox's Trace Gallagher has the full story on that for us tonight. Hey, Trace.
Hey, Tucker, Culpeper County, Virginia is relatively small, like 50,000 people, but the sheriff's office there has confirmed to Tucker Carlson tonight that in the past 2 weeks, 2 illegal immigrants with DUI convictions have been released from jail. One of the inmates had 2 DUIs, the other had 1 and was previously deported. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, had detainers on both suspects, but under the new Biden administration policies, the agency was forced to lift the detainers and allow them to walk free. In other words, it's like sanctuary policies have expanded nationwide. Remember, ICE and other immigration agents can no longer deport illegal immigrants for crimes like assault, money laundering, property crimes, fraud, drug crimes, or DUI. Even Mothers Against Drunk Driving wouldn't comment on the policy. Quoting here, MAD expects all drunk driving offenders to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, no exceptions. The issue of deportation is outside the scope of MAD's life-saving mission. But during the campaign, Joe Biden promised he would do exactly this. Watch.
You only arrest for the purpose of dealing with a felony that's committed, and I don't count drunk driving as a felony.
Tell that to the families of Drew Rosenberg, Brandon Mendoza, and the dozens of other families Fox News has covered in recent years who lost loved ones to illegal immigrants driving under the influence. 3 weeks ago in Portland, Antifa held a violent protest calling for ICE to be abolished. One official told the Washington Post the Biden administration has now essentially abolished ICE without abolishing ICE. Tucker.
Trace Gallagher. Amazing. Thank you.
Yep.
Insanity.
So Mothers Against Drunk Driving is not mad that...
Dramatic finish for President Trump's second impeachment trial. Lawmakers voting to acquit the former president after a last-minute fight over witnesses threw the proceedings into chaos. Good evening, everyone. I'm Trace Gallagher in for John Scott, and this is a special 2-hour edition of the Fox Report.
Judges that the respondent, Donald John Trump, former President of the United States, is not guilty.
That's what it sounded like a little more than 2 hours ago when the Senate voted to acquit former President Trump of inciting the Capitol riot. The final vote, 57-43, 10 votes shy of a conviction. 7 Republicans joined Democrats to vote guilty. Trump is now the first president to be impeached twice and acquitted twice. More on that ahead. But first, another major story we are following, growing calls for a federal investigation into New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's handling of the coronavirus pandemic. This after a top aide reportedly admitted his administration withheld data on nursing home deaths over concerns of how the Trump White House would respond. We have Team Fox coverage on both stories. Chad Pergram and Mark Meredith all standing by. But we begin with Alex Hogan covering the latest fallout in New York. Alex.
Good evening, Trace. I'm currently outside of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's New York City office. Now, we've seen 16 times the Senate Republicans have tried to rid Governor Cuomo of his pandemic emergency powers, and all of those have been unsuccessful. But now, for the very first time, 14 Democratic state senators are joining Republicans, and in a message that they released last night, they said in part the emergency powers that had been granted to the governor to manage this pandemic are no longer needed and must be reevaluated immediately. The blowback over nursing home death cover-up allegations stemming from a call this week between New York's Democratic lawmakers and the secretary to the governor, Melissa DeRosa. DeRosa allegedly admitted that the Cuomo administration has been withholding the true number of deaths. DeRosa later clarifying in her statement, saying, when we received the DOJ inquiry, we needed to temporarily set aside the legislature's request to deal with the federal request first. Some lawmakers, however, calling these actions premeditated.
This was an orchestrated and conspired cover-up that likely involves a number of both state and federal crimes.
Winning again.
It's very clear that this involves obstruction of justice.
On Wednesday, the state revealing the death toll is actually 15,049 people. Now that's up from the nearly 9,000 deaths the health department reported at the end of last month. A separate report obtained by the Associated Press shows that the governor's order released more than 9,000 recovering COVID-19 patients into nursing homes. That's up 43% from numbers originally reported by the state health department. All of this, of course, comes just weeks after another investigation by the state attorney general, Letitia James. Trace?
Yeah, the death toll numbers are astonishing and heartrending. Alex Hogan live for us in New York. Alex, thank you. Meantime,
Letitia James getting it done.
Here, of course, former President Trump was completely denied any such opportunity. And it turns out there is significant reason to doubt the evidence the House managers have put before us. Let me say this clearly. We have reason to believe the House managers manipulated evidence and selectively edited footage. If they did, and this were a court of law, they would face sanctions from the judge. I don't raise this issue lightly. Rather, it is a product of what we have found in just the limited time we have had since we first saw the evidence here with you this week. We have reason to believe that the House managers created false representations of tweets, and the lack of due process means there was no opportunity to review or verify the accuracy. Consider these facts. The House managers, proud of their work on this snap impeachment, staged numerous photo shoots of their preparations. In one of those, Manager Raskin is seen here at his desk reviewing two tweets side by side. The image on his screen claims to show that President Trump had retweeted one of those tweets. Now, members of the Senate, let's look closely at this screen, because obviously Manager Raskin considered it important enough that he invited the New York Times to watch him watching it. Now, what's wrong with this image? Actually, there are three things very wrong with it. Look at the date on the very bottom of the screen on Manager Raskin's computer screen when we zoom into the picture. The date that appears is January 3rd, 2020, not 2021. Why is that date wrong? Because this is not a real screenshot that he's working with. This is a recreation of a tweet, and you got the date wrong when you manufactured this graphic. You did not disclose that this is a manufactured graphic and not a real screenshot of a tweet. Now, to be fair, the House managers caught this error before showing the image on the Senate floor, so you never saw it when it was presented to you. But that's not all. They didn't fix this one. Look at the blue check mark next to the Twitter username of the account retweeted by the president. It indicates that this is a verified account, given the blue check by Twitter to indicate it is run by a public figure. The problem? The user's real account is not verified and has no blue check mark, as you can see. Were you trying to make her account seem more significant, or were you just sloppy? If we had due process of law in this case, we would know the truth. But that's not all that's wrong with this one tweet. House Manager Swalwell showed you this tweet this week, and he emphasized that this tweet reflected a call to arms. He told you repeatedly that this was a promise to call in the cavalry for January 6th. He expressly led you to believe that President Trump's supporter believed that the president wanted armed supporters at the January 6th speech, paramilitary groups, the cavalry, ready for physical combat. The problem is, the actual text is exactly the opposite. The tweeter promised to bring the Calvary, a public display of Christ's crucifixion, a central symbol of her Christian faith, with her to the president's speech, a symbol of faith, love, and peace. They just never want to seem to read the text and believe what the text means. You'll see this reported in the media last evening also. Words matter, they told you, but they selectively edited the president's words over and over again. They manipulated video, time-shifting clips, and made it appear the president's words were playing to a crowd when they weren't. Let's take a look.
After this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down to the Capitol. But I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol. And we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong. We have come to demand that Congress do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. Lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
And we are going to walk down to the Capitol. They showed you that part. Why are we walking to the Capitol? Well, they cut that off. to cheer on some members of Congress and not others, peacefully and patriotically. The Supreme Court ruled in Brandenburg that there's a very clear standard for incitement. In short, to paraphrase, whether the speech was intended to provoke imminent lawless action, and was it likely to do so. Go to the Capitol and cheer on some members of Congress, but not others. They know it doesn't meet the standard for incitement, so they edited it down. We heard a lot this week about fight like hell, but they cut off the video before they showed you the president's optimistic, patriotic words that followed immediately after.
We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. Our exciting adventures and boldest endeavors have not yet begun. My fellow Americans, for our movement, for our children, and for our beloved country. And I say this, despite all that's happened, the best is yet to come.
There's that famous quote, like one of the House managers said, "A lie will travel halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put its shoes on." Well, this lie traveled around the world a few times, made its way into the Biden campaign talking points, and ended up on the Senate floor. The Charlottesville lie. Very fine people on both sides, except that isn't all he said. And they knew it then, and they know it now. Watch this.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
Robert E. Lee are not the same.
Well, no, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly. Now, in the other group also, you had some fine people, but you also had troublemakers, and you see them come with the black outfits and with the helmets and with the baseball bats. You had a lot of bad people in the other group too.
Treated unfairly, sir. I'm sorry, I just didn't understand what you were saying. You were saying the press has treated white nationalists unfairly?
No,
I just didn't understand what you were saying.
No. There were people in that rally, and I looked the night before. If you look, there were people protesting very quietly the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. I'm sure in that group there were some bad ones. The following day it looked like they had some rough, bad people. Neo-Nazis, white nationalists, whatever you want to call them. But you had a lot of people in that group that were there to innocently protest and very legally protest because, you know, I don't know if you know, they had a permit. The other group didn't have a permit. So I only tell you this, there are two sides to a story. I thought what took place was a horrible moment for our country, a horrible moment. But there are two sides to the country. Does anybody have a final? Does anybody have, you have an infrastructure. What makes you think?
This might be today the first time the news networks played those full remarks in their context. And how many times have you heard that President Trump has never denounced white supremacists? Now you in America know the truth. Here's another example. One of the House managers made much of the president's supposedly ominous words of, "You have to get your people to fight." But you knew what the president really meant. He meant that the crowd should demand action from members of Congress and support primary challenges to those who don't do what he considered to be right. Support primary challenges, not violent action. I know what he meant because I watched the full video, and so did the House managers, but they manipulated his words. You will see where they stopped it, and to give it a very different meaning. from the meaning it has in full context. Let's watch.
You have to get your people to fight. He told them.
You have to get your people to fight. And if they don't fight, we have to primary the hell out of the ones that don't fight. You primary them, we're gonna let you know who they are. I can already tell you, frankly.
The people who need to fight are members of Congress. Why did we have to skip the necessary due diligence and due process of law and that any legal proceeding should have? It couldn't have been the urgency to get President Trump out of office. House Democrats held the articles until he was no longer president, mooting their case. Hatred, animosity, division, political gain, and let's face it, for House Democrats, President Trump is the best enemy to attack.
Owned. Debunk the people on both sides.
And they did something at the end of that. That was something that they did. I think they were, who knows, it looks like they made a lighter out of that. Put the wires together. Sparker. Ramen noodles. Okay, so you definitely gotta do something on the phone. Let's find the phone over here. Let me get my gloves on. Didn't use your deodorant. Yeah.
Look at all this stuff out.
Okay.
Just get rid of it.
Gel or something, like aloe gel for their hair. For the Cholo slick back look. It's probably Tres Flores, bro. That's what they like, the flowers. That fucking pattern's getting popular. Yeah. I don't like that. That's a nice pack, dude. A little mini pack. Who's that from? Let me see. This guy. Rack USA, bro. Yeah. USA. Yeah. Socks. Alright, I'm gonna walk over here and see if there's another one. I'm sure there is. Yeah, there's a couple big ones back
there. Walking around finding all this shit. Coming over the border.
Probably out back this way. Yeah, this is the area that we had a trail cam here at one point on that pole, but it was looking down that area right there on the other side of the fence.
So again, folks, we're out here cleaning up a community, exposing the trafficking routes to the community, showing them what's coming through their neighborhood. But it's like they don't care. A lot of people here don't care because they're scared. They've given up on caring. It's really hard to help a community that doesn't want to help itself, man.
Go back to the left over there.
No, that's where we had the trail cam up on that telephone pole that one time, remember? Let me look over here. Minor shit, just water bottles. Lewis just got. We got to get the vehicles down here. We're just bringing shit to the road so we could toss it in. Now, from this point on, a lot of people do get picked up in this area. The ones that don't continue on down the fence line. Some cut through the culvert under the highway off to Buckaloo. Others continue on down, and then they cut out over towards Sandario. Either way, the trail pushes this way from this point. We're going to have a team out here to go and really search it well. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, guys. All right, check this out. We're up on Tucker. I got a culvert right there. Tons of camo piled up around it, going into it. There's packs, camo, all kinds of shit over there. Once again, city of Tucson. I can get in there, foot access only, hunting. Yes, I have hunting license. Well, I'm allowed to access this shit.
Right there.
Oh, hell yeah, look at that. All right, one sec, guys.
Oh, shit, dude, they're laying right the fuck down in there.
Look at this shit. They got beer, Modelo.
This is fresh, dude. One.
Yeah, they're sleeping in there.
2, 3.
These are the thick winter jackets.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Fanny pack full.
9 regular sweatshirts and about 9 hats.
Yep. Because shitbags need the ski mask. Well, asylum seekers need ski masks, right?
You want to leave it so they know we're here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
What's that?
You want to leave it so they don't know we're here? Because this is a spotter, dude. Because look at the McDonald's.
Yeah.
So you want to leave it?
Yeah. I'm gonna take a little bit of this shit. Grab that hat for me.
Yeah. There's a bunch of brand new hats over here.
Oh,
too.
I'm full.
There's 9 sets. That's a spotter though, dude.
Yeah, grab all the hats. Okay, there it is. Make sure I got that. All right, we're just down the road a little farther on Tucker, and we got more shitbag activity. Dude, we're being overran up here from the border. Yeah, I see more right out here. Okay, so once again, City of Tucson property, giving them safe harbor. Did you rip that? I got a pile of shit right over there.
A hole in my arm.
Damn. All right, Becky and I were coming down Garvey. We came across this on the fence. I'm assuming this is a Mike Lyle's job from the get-go when I seen it, just because it looks fake as fuck. This looks completely staged.
It's old shit.
Right here, but what tells me that it is this right here. That's Solo's. That's Solo right there. Stolen from camp. General Solo.
We got 2 hats. What the heck? Look at these. Those are nice.
Oh, yeah.
Those are nice. Those are Becky's. Oh, those are nice ones.
Yeah, those aren't jammies.
No.
That's not jammy cam.
Those are nice.
That's what I... What's that?
Isn't it like the new style now with those weird tapered sweatpants, those weird knee pad areas?
So we got
Yeah.
2 hats, but only 1 set of camis.
Yeah, see, those are jammy cams right there.
Right here. So this is the jammy cams. They wear these with the bottoms that are the same material. Yeah, I like things.
Oh,
Oh, right there.
more, huh?
No, I think this is an older pair. Yeah, this is the... Yeah, this one's old.
Well, if you want, go toss it in the back of the truck real quick so you don't got to carry it all the way down here.
Throw it over here on the road.
You're going to keep it. Yeah, I got more right here. One, two. This is just a couple black black jugs, some socks, no packs. Here's the shoes.
pair, that'll fit. Most definitely, dude. They will fit. No, we got a couple pairs. I mean, we got probably 30 or 40 pairs at camp that we just picked up.
These don't look as effective as the fluffy ones, though.
No, these aren't as good as the ones with actual carpet. Like these right here, these are good. These are the good ones. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this shit is from overnight because this is the area that we cleaned out with Jacob yesterday.
These are brand new.
From here all the way down.
Yeah, these aren't.
See, those are the matching pair right there. Just go forward right through here. Bag. Jammy cam, black jugs. Oh yeah. Yeah, they tie them off to the jugs, and they carry them like that, so they kind of just swing, and it takes a little bit of the weight off their arm. I've seen them sling them over their shoulders every which way, you know what I mean? Didn't start seeing that till like last year, around March. We started seeing a bunch of them just tied up like that. Like the things that they do and the way that they evade and shit they have to make things easier, it's constantly, it's just an evolution, bro. It's a constant evolution, man. You know, find better ways to not get caught, make the trip easier.
It's just weird. I think there should be groups that are not really doing.
What's that? Oh, they're getting Red Bulls out here. Look at all these Red Bulls. Look at this, dude. Look. School bus, bro. I mean, come on, man. This is fucking ridiculous for America.
On the other side of the train, that's what I
Oh,
found yesterday.
maxi pads.
One of the thick ones with these.
Yeah. There's definitely women coming through the trail. I mean, we found maxis yesterday, too.
Over there is where I picked up all that camo. I didn't get everything yesterday. That stuff was there yesterday. But
Oh, okay. Here, you want to check this out? This is some of the stuff that we left here that we didn't get all of it.
I didn't have enough arms.
Oh, no, we're not to that point yet.
This is where I came in yesterday. Remember I walked over?
Yeah. That's a nice thick jacket, though.
Yeah, that one was in the tree.
All right, I'm looking for fresh backpacks.
Yeah, the electrolyte, you'll see a lot of that.
Yeah, electrolyte that's standard.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, that's a nice set right there. That's a nice hat. That's brand new. Oh, we were pulling the USA socks out yesterday out of some of the packs. These are fresh though. You can still see moisture in these, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See how it's...
Glasses actually help with that. It makes the moisture look real dark. Kinda cool.
So these are fresh, bro. Somebody recently, I mean, they're like real fresh. That should have dried out real quick on that top layer and crusted over.
Look at these glasses. The moisture is like way darker.
Oh yeah.
It's like Predator.
Alright, so this ship bag came from this way. Let's see. There should be no backpacks in this area that, like, if there's backpacks here, they're fresh. Because we removed every backpack. Scoured this area, man. There goes another bed down layup. That's their sleeping bag. They lay on that shit for the choya, the sticks. Cuddle up in it when it's raining. We got some videos. See, I thought they only laid on them. You know what I mean?
Even with blankets?
Yeah. But what they did, they also use them in the rain. They just get in them. And just, yeah, they just get in them and tie them up, dude. Little hole at the top.
That's weird.
Oh, these things are awesome when they burn. When they go, like just like that. That one, if you lit it on fire, it's so beautiful, dude. It just goes up like, what's up? Oh shit, look at this. This is brand new, bro.
Over there, you'll see heavy foot traffic.
Yeah, I got their tracks right here, fresh. I mean, they're fresh tracks. This right here, I'm gonna tell you that this is probably dropped
This morning.
like sometime, no, like soon, Becky. Well, I'm talking like just a little bit ago because these tracks are still moist.
So when there was that dude that we saw on the ATV.
Yes.
There's his pants and his shirt wrapped up in his
We
cargo
just got
shoes.
spotted.
Did we?
Yeah, we're made.
Beg him to come fuck with me.
And see that material right there, that works good too on the rug shoes. That multicolored shit right there.
I'm gonna take these ones.
Yeah, that's a good chat. Look at
These are
that.
good ones. These are the ones with that.
Seeing a lot of these
You
this
got
year.
two. Okay, make sure you wash them separate from your clothes now, okay? Huh?
Is it like a...
You don't know what they have. But there's a look at that set of freaking rug shoes right there.
Oh, Digicams.
Yeah. Nice guys, hi.
What's that?
Like a waterproof material, like a tarp.
Yeah. Yeah. They put their shoes right on inside of that. They go right
Dude,
over
we
the
should have
shoes.
brought a plastic bag. I'll carry these too.
So if you want to put everything into one hoodie and have a hoodie.
Yep. See, look at those logos. See that? Even the other pattern we're getting, it has that same. It's the same people.
This one is the one you want to take.
A&H
I'm gonna put it
Classics.
inside this one because it's not ripped. It's like.
So we got to figure out.
This one's ripped in the pocket.
We got to figure out where A&H Classics is at.
Well, I have 5 kids and 3 girls.
Nice.
And they'd all.
You want all of it?
Are we taking all of it?
If you want.
I figured either way we got to take it all. And,
We'll come back with a bag.
Yeah, usually when we do something like this, we just do the quick search. We'll do the search, and then we'll come back later or the next day, and we'll do a cleaning after we tell BP what.
So it's up to you what you want to do, babe. If you want to take it all, you can take it all.
I mean, that's not going to make a difference, dude. BP knows this area is hot. I would just grab it up. Oh shit! Look, there's more right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just cleaned this, dude. And Jacob was here with us when we cleaned all this shit out, man. Oh yeah, more. Are these the pants? No, that's a hoodie. Nice hoodie. I got more right over there, Gina. I don't see a backpack. Oh shit. Hold on, let's go right there's that's a cholla field right there. Let's go around this way. We just cleaned it yesterday. We cleaned, dude, an entire truckload of shit, dude. This is how active this area is.
That is a good set right there.
What kind of hat did he have? Is it the classic? Nope. It's woodland. But there's another, yeah, 2 hats.
You're coming in groups of 2.
Here, shut those down in there.
Oh, and you make my ass.
Another, look at this shit, dude. It's, fuck. We just cleaned this shit, dude. What?
Right there, more.
Fuck, dude. No. Or actually, I might have some. When we go back, we can grab some. Come back and pick this shit up. How much you want to bet that we got a bunch of shit bags on trail cam video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 cameras set up at where we're going to right now. No, not all of them. Not all of them. And even the ones that do wear them, they're not wearing them all the time. Boots. And yeah, athletic tennies and boots. Yeah. It's just me and Lewis, and he's got like a size 14. So he's not hard to mix up with people.
They just want combat boots.
That's just cattle in here. through here or something, dude. Or... No, that's, yeah. No, that's three. Three fucking pads, dude. That's a cat. Sometimes you see those big ass mountain lion prints out here and you're like, shit. That's just because the material's faded don't mean it's old, Becky. Look.
No, I see now. I thought it was all ripped and shredded.
They use, I noticed that they're sewing older materials together with newer materials. I mean, that was absolutely the case. A lot of the stuff we found the other day.
Lady Frisbee, what's going on, G? John Hill, what's going on? Dude's out here prospecting in a way at the border.
This isn't a vehicle. This is cargo shoes, dude.
What?
Pretty sure this is cargo shoes. This is multiple people. Yeah, no, it's really clear.
No, they said the vaccine isn't going to do anything. It's still going to be locked down. Hope you guys are having a good day, though.
See, that's Lewis.
Yeah, that's. I know his exact pattern.
We're finding all kinds of shit on the Tucson border right here, though.
Jugs over that one over there, looks like. You see, it should start funneling right here in the corner. How we were tracking that trail. It'll all funnel out down to here. This is where they're coming down from Larkdale. And they flow through here, and then they'll go out to the 286 and cross over to the elementary. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, right. I think it's a couple people, but it's like, what are you guys doing? It's harassment.
You guys have any hand sanitizer? Need some hand sanitizer.
You know they ain't got that.
No? News Now Ninja wanted me to ask. I'm not gonna.
What's up, News Now Ninja? These dudes are crazy, bro. He's
Yeah, it's not that big of a
down,
house, but
dude.
you know, these guys have houses all over, so they don't need. I mean, it's in really good condition. I'm sure he has multiple houses. He's rich, you know.
Oh yeah. But see, they have a private car over there, and if you zoom in from I think that spot right over there.
Yeah,
in the
they're
little
saying
center circle,
2024
you
now
actually
on
see the
CNN.
tags clear as day.
So
Oh yeah. Well, I'm
we got
not
another
I don't
3
care about
years.
seeing governor's tags per se.
The viewers do.
See, President now wants us to walk back now. What should we do?
Backwards.
Want to go back that way?
BS.
They want us to walk back the other way.
Yeah, it wants to go back that way, and then we should just turn down the path and walk back.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Now they know because they heard us.
Like, we're not doing anything.
All right. Still has his hand on his gun, guys. It's very uncomfortable situation. Now with the guy with the gun, his hand on the gun is behind me, which is really more uncomfortable.
Thank you for upholding
This
the
is back there.
Constitution today, guys. For your oaths.
Oh, they're following 2 guys. Four cops for 2 guys. Doesn't anyone know the history of vaccines? How many people got fucked off in the last 100 years from vaccines? You had to push for this COVID-19 vaccine to skip safety protocols,
Dang, I
right?
can do that pretty well, huh?
Well, didn't
Yeah,
skip
you
them.
Guys made out.
Join the military. They're like,
They just
2 are back. 2 protesters are back.
went through them really quick. But the reason why they were able to jump protocols.
Yeah, let's go back.
All right, let's start today.
It's not the same as a
Thank
vaccine
you guys for upholding your oath to the Constitution.
that we
You guys
normally
have a
know.
good night.
Vaccine,
Well,
when
some of them
injected,
broke policy.
from my understanding.
Yeah, it's supposed to
creates a
identify.
protein. With this vaccine, it's a protein that gets inserted into you.
This is weird, man.
It is weird. It's weird. We don't need adult babysitters. Like, we're not violent people. And this guy still has his hand on his gun. All right. Thanks for the escort, guys.
In Yukon, Jack.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
They did, yeah.
Dude, what a bunch of goons, bro.
I know, it's just ridiculous.
I mean, I know it's not
John
their
Hill,
fault,
Fortune
bro.
Company. I don't
mean,
understand
they
what's
could
going on
refuse
here.
it, you know?
Cops are
They
being
could refuse to do it, you know?
not normal in this situation, I would say.
I can't. I'll have to go a little further. There we go. Ha!
In the lockdown.
Still walking
Maybe
towards
harassment.
Whoa.
Oh, careful.
Whoa. This ice, guys. Look at this ice. Oh my God. If they just saved money, if they used the money instead of cops, they use it on salt, would be much better. Look at this thing. Look at this, guys. It's all ice. Here we are back at the sine wave here. Thank you guys for joining. Whoa, almost lost it. Appreciate you guys joining, I really do. Hit that like button if you haven't already. If you're a cop and you haven't hit the bell notification yet, you can see me go live every time. Make sure I'm not in your town.
Love to have a conversation with you, but I can't come any closer.
He asked for your name and badge number.
Name and badge number.
Identify yourself.
He's resisting.
Almost all of them identified except for two, I think, 2 or 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the sergeants tried to. I wasn't recording him. But I asked him for his name and badge number. He rolled his window up, so I told Flaw to go around there, and then he talked to Flaw.
One of these guys on the path had his hand on his gun the whole time. He's just like going like this, and he has his head tipped, like really intimidating.
Like a Western showdown about
Ready to
to
go.
happen.
Did you get your hand sanitizer?
No.
So, a couple of them didn't identify. What do we do about that?
We can file complaints about not.
Teach me how to do that?
Yeah, violating. Basically, you file a complaint and you cite the. Yeah, but you cite the policy and code of conduct or code of ethics, and they're supposed to identify when asked. And I would go to the extent, if a town doesn't specifically say that in their ordinance or in their policy it says they need to establish public trust. So if you ask their name and badge number, it is within their policy to establish that trust with another person.
Right.
They can't just like go around and stop bullying or acting out, you know.
Right.
But that's just my opinion, bro. If we can make.
What about getting like FOIA requests on their? What do you get the form? You got to go to like the police station.
On what exactly?
On their body cam and the drone footage.
Yes, but they might say that unless there's a felony arrest or say you go to trial. Now I would go if you're taking the trial, request all of the discovery. That's right.
All the good.
But I think you have a gag on it until it's the trial's done. So then you can release it. But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, most likely. I had a thing from when I got pepper sprayed in the prison in my cell in solitary, and I have that video. It has not been. I publicized it. I published it once on one of my pages, and then my lawyer was like, "Hey, the DA called, and they want you to take down this." I said, "No, I'm not taking it down," and she's like, "Well, you signed a thing." I forgot that I had signed the thing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was like, "Shit, I gotta take it down."
Yeah.
So
Actually, a
but
guy.
it's over with now, so I can put it back up.
Yeah.
I've been waiting.
I think so. There's another thing too. I think if a trial is about to happen and there's this discovery, that it's now considered public information.
What are you talking
So
about,
I could
Josh
request the court documents or
discovery?
Yeah, once it's discovered. I think that's. But usually they drag the feet on that. It's like, oh no, we're using this for the case. We can't do that.
Black water bottle right over there. Right there, Paul.
I got a jug here. Got more jugs over this way.
So they're getting Bud Light out here on the trail. See, I just walked right by that coming to the jugs.
Spitting all
See how easy it is to miss shit?
Yo, rapper man, Josh Griffin.
See how easy it is to just miss something?
Yeah.
I walked right by this to the jug.
An original.
So there's 4.
I don't know. I'm spitting, yeah.
Oh, we got a pack though. Empty. That's that white van. That's him. No, this guy in the white van. See on the corner here, you have Daniela de la Cruz. Up here where that flag is at that I showed you guys, that's the De La Cruz brothers. She is their daughter, niece, all convicted narcotics traffickers, right? And I'm pretty sure the one over here, he had human trafficking as well. And then right next to her is the guy with the white van. They're all working, doing pickups and drops and just getting shit out.
I'm saying in the DC area, the white vans are used all the time to travel people around.
Oh, yeah?
They come straight from here. They usually have like Texas plates or something like that. And they're just packed full.
I walked right by that shit, dude. From that black jug to that jug over there. It's that easy to miss stuff. Oh, that's like a couple years old. Yeah, that's how long they've been using this route.
I was worried with underwear.
I hope not. No, it looks like a sweater. But you do find them out here. And when you find them hanging in the trees, that's when it's concerning. Look, I almost stepped on it. That's a kid. That's a kid on this trafficking route, dude. I got a size 10. I'm not that big. That's a pretty small mofo because I don't see tread, dude. That's like the carpet shoes. When you got that soft shit because of rain, dude, he dug his toe in. Yeah, that's just a little youngster, man. I got, oh, right there, look. Did she just walk by that? Yeah. We'll come out here tomorrow, dude, and we'll devastate this shit. Jeans, huh? Look.
It's got insulation too.
Yeah. Well, what they do is I've seen it with the FEMA blankets they have. They'll wrap those around them. And what they do in the summertime is they wet the blanket.
We're doing pretty
and the blanket
damn good.
keeps the water cooling. The wet blanket. And I've had them tell me that directly. I've had BP tell me that.
Though.
What's that?
Carrying around a wet blanket and a water jug.
Yeah.
That would be.
Oh, these little shits, dude. These are like, they train for this. Watch, the first time you see one of these guys move, you're going to be like, damn. These guys they're fast, bro. Because they're tiny. They're 5'4", 5'5". They weigh 105 pounds. Most of them.
Hard to tell with this time last year. Pretty much.
Carpet shoes or something over there. right there. Yeah. I got stuff here. Oh, I got tons that are like pretty much brand new, man. Wow. Camera right here. Jammy cam pants. Another black jug over here. These things will go right through your boot, bro, and right through your foot.
Trump was the one, and America thought they were voting for who they like to have dinner with. Shaking everybody and rebuild the system, let the kids take over, cut off the liars and politicians. Seemed kind of jumbled, but I could see having dinner with Trump over having dinner with Joe Biden. I don't know how good the dinner would be, but from what I heard, he is very self-deprecating when he's one-on-one to build up a relationship, which is a weird thing, but that's kind of what Tim Pool said when he went. Didn't really get to the point, didn't really get anything done. But overall, did good as a politician. Was trying to drain the swamp by cutting off the liars and politicians. So, but I got a couple things I got to do. I'll be going live later. I'm gonna do some Omegle. I'm gonna do my midday little update, history, and then of course the Omegle later on tonight. But catch you guys. Hope you guys all have a good day if I don't